Welcome, everyone, to episode 5 of the New Zealand Retirement Podcast. I'm Redan Page, and today we're diving into the fascinating world of financial planning and lifestyle choices. Together with my co-host John Milner, we'll explore lifestyle creep, the hedonic treadmill, and how to avoid it through solid financial decisions aligned with your personal values. Whether you're managing a mortgage or planning investments, this episode is packed with insights just for you. Welcome to the episode. What I see with a lot of clients, I've just had one recently where we're looking at paying down the mortgage. We've just had a big lump sum to pay off a large part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're coming into a space now where they're really able to save a lot of money towards retirement and just, potentially 2 years left on the mortgage. And now they have a great idea, and that is to move to a lifestyle property and have some chickens, have some dogs, live the life that you can't get in an apartment. So the plan...
How have you been talking to my wife?
Well, there's a bit of the Kiwi dream, I think. I would also very much like to live in a lifestyle property, but our expectations change as our circumstances change. And it ends up being a bit of a hedonic treadmill, in that we move from the expectation of we're going to live well and then invest a lot and then get to retirement. And instead of that saving space, we either upgrade home or we start taking more trips. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the question remains, where are we actually going to get the money to compound wealth, to give us choices in the future?
Yeah, it's probably reasonably common, isn't it? People in that situation where they've got excess cash and want to start enjoying it. But there's nothing wrong with perhaps somebody that wants to maybe sell down and maybe use some of that capital. That's okay if they can afford to do that. But as you say, in that scenario where they've got an ideal situation to build up that capital for retirement, but no, let's buy a bigger house or a boat or some trips. It's a tough one, isn't it? You can understand the human aspect about it, wanting to enjoy that.
Yeah, because I always love to look at the old compounding charts, and you go, okay, if I'm saving $100 a month or whatever it is since I was 30 years old and I save $100 a month, I get to some ridiculous figure in my 60s and 70s. But the problem is there's always something else that comes up.
Sure.
It's completely natural to say my expectations about life are changing. I'm having different ideas about what my ideal life looks like. I think it's just important that you know what those values are. Like my clients where they want the lifestyle property, I can see them being lifestyle property people. It makes sense, right?
Mm.
But we want to look at what is really important to you. Because it might look like I want to buy the bigger house because just had 2 people at work that have now upgraded their home. And that just feels like the right thing to do because I want to keep up with everybody else. And I think that's potentially the wrong way to go about things, because then you really are just trying to keep up with other people rather than living the life that you would really, really value.
Sure, absolutely. I've had that comment many times over the years where, they're comparing themselves to family, friends, neighbours, putting a real downer on themselves, saying, what are we doing wrong? But look at those people that enjoying those lifestyles. They've got a home on Waiheke, they're in Europe all the time. The truth is, a lot of those people are up to their eyeballs probably in debt. Some of them, at least, anyway. Some of them might be enjoying the spoils of working very, very hard, but some of them will also have it on debt. And I tell clients, stop comparing yourself. You're doing well. Just carry on doing what you're doing.
I was very surprised when I was working at a finance company, and it was about 2020, and a lot of the car financing wasn't just, Toyotas and Hiluxes, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 cars. They were Porsches, other really nice cars, but these are fully financed vehicles on interest rates of, say, 15%. So
Wow.
they're buying a house deposit, and then they're paying thousands upon thousands of dollars a year for the privilege of having it. Now, to the outside, you're looking at that person that's just bought a Porsche, you're going, God, he's doing well.
Yeah,
she's doing well. But
absolutely.
Underneath, that's a
Living
lot of
day to day to pay the car.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, it doesn't catch up with you until you stop earning.
Yeah. And all of a sudden, bam, you're no longer earning. It's retirement time, and you might have just paid your car off, perhaps.
Yeah. Or realistically replaced it 3 times as one breaks down after another.
I think I might have mentioned to you a gentleman that's he's got how old he be, 43, and he has a McLaren. Yeah, the guy that's got the McLaren car, but he doesn't own a home. It must be pretty bloody tight at night when you're trying to get a good night's sleep. in that car. But he doesn't. He doesn't own a home. He's got no, he's nowhere near owning a home. But he's got this very, very expensive car. It's ridiculous.
He'd look good driving it though, so how much is that
Exactly.
worth?
Exactly. Yeah. He's a real ladies' man. He likes the younger woman, but it just seems insane.
So I'd always been a fan of repaying the mortgage as quickly as possible, and then jumping into high growth investments using a financial advisor that can help
Exactly.
you go maybe a little bit above your risk profile. I mean, if you're low risk person, there's nothing really much you can do about that. You can sit on a balanced portfolio, that's okay. But for every 10% extra you go, balance being 60% growth, for every extra 10% you go, 80% being a growth portfolio, 90 to 100% being an aggressive portfolio, you potentially earn another 1% in interest that is compounding for you.
Sure.
That is defeating inflation. Yeah.
It's most of the time is my advice as well. Sometimes it can be difficult to turn people around to that. Investing seems so much more sophisticated and sexy than paying off your debt. But as you know, it's 100% guaranteed savings. If you're paying 7%, it's 100% savings, 7% net savings. And I can't provide that. Those products out there that do provide that guaranteed return are illiquid.
Yeah.
It's not something that I want to put my clients in, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So going with a guaranteed savings, get it paid off as soon as possible. And then you've got choices in life, haven't you? I mean, you can always reborrow if you had to, but otherwise use that same capital that you would be paying on the mortgage and build up that nest egg.
So that's the logical side of things. But I'm now wondering, what if it's a behavior thing?
Mhm.
Because if you're paying down that mortgage, for some reason, us in New Zealand, we tend to say, okay, if it's under 100K, we can borrow more. It's not, oh, I'm about to be mortgage free. It's, oh, I could borrow more to get a nicer property, get the
Sure.
property that I've always been dreaming about. So the other way of going about things is if you are going for a high growth portfolio, it's possible to outperform that
Mhm.
after fees and tax. It's not likely, but it's possible, just because tax being, about 1.4% a year, fees potentially being 1 to 2%, whatever that might be. So it's not likely that you're going to outperform, but it is possible. And on a behavior basis, if you are making those investments alongside your mortgage, then you might actually be able to say, okay, I can see how my investments are tracking for retiring, and that's actually doing okay. And on the mortgage, that's also coming down. So on a behavior basis, there might actually be a point to say, well, actually, we could just do both instead. It's not mathematically best, but
Mhm.
on a behavior basis, it can be best.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I do have some clients like that. They're quite happy just to chisel away at their debts, maybe not quite as fast, but they have this capital sitting in an investment growing at the same time. That's okay.
One thing I'd recommend to clients is take a look at how you're actually tracking for those investments. You can use any number of the investment calculators on the web, and just have a look at what your KiwiSaver is doing, and then have a look at what your current savings is doing, and just see where you land. Use the 4% rule. So whatever number you're coming to, use the times that number by 0.04, and that's the amount that you could be drawing off those investments. Have a look at that and see how you're actually tracking, because you might actually be okay already as you're paying down the mortgage and you're making the investments at the same time, or maybe it's something that you want to work with an advisor to work out with you and
Mhm.
help you make those higher growth investments if you can.
And then you've got these people, and there's a lot of them that have there's literally billions and billions of dollars just sitting in term deposits. For some people, it's quite appropriate. They have short-term needs, but I suspect a lot of people, it's really just they're very adverse to risk. Maybe they need, I guess, further education to understand why they need to get, I guess, greater exposure to growth assets, get that higher return. I mean, if we I'm not sure what the exact TD rates are at the moment, but yeah, I think it'd be fair to say that you're able to provide a much better return in the long term anyway for those clients. Certainly short term, no, but long term, yes. So it's a bit of a pity that we've got so much tied up. I'm not sure if that's the same globally, but certainly New Zealand, it's huge.
So what would you say to someone that's come to you with $500,000 in term deposits going, look, I'm used to the freedom of not thinking about risk at all.
Yeah, well, I'll be seeing somebody tomorrow afternoon in that very situation. He has retired. I actually visited him a couple of years ago. He wasn't quite ready at that stage to move ahead. His wife has now passed away, sadly. He's managed to, I guess, get some distance from that and settle down a bit. He's come back and said, "Listen, John, I've got this money, and it wasn't all in TDs at the time, but it certainly is now. And I guess is now in a frame of mind where he can talk about putting it into some growth assets." But I guess the question, which is what you've just asked, what would you say to that person? I guess I need to talk about, what is the purpose of that money? Because this person isn't a spring chicken. What is the purpose of the money? Is it likely that he's going to be, consuming some or all of it himself? Is it likely, does he think perhaps that it'll be a generational thing where he'll be passing on some of that money to maybe his kids, if not now, later on? Because that comes down to, I guess, time, duration. How long is this money likely to be needed for? Do we have 2 years, 1 year? Or is it likely that, realistically, somebody in their 70s, that could go for 15, 20 years? And if you right up to 90 or beyond, the need for risk doesn't stop at 65.
And every time I hear term deposits, my mind goes towards inflation,
Oh,
because
yes.
you might over the course of those term deposits, earn 3.5%. But if inflation is 2.5%, you're actually only really earning 1.5% on it. Whereas in capital markets, it's a lot more. Even if you just added 30% in growth assets, and you left some of it in term deposits, or the balance of it in bonds, you'll at least beat inflation then a lot more of the time in these high inflation periods that'll come along.
Yeah, that's one of those major risks, isn't it? Inflation, which people don't consider.
And we've seen with food recently has been absolutely massive food price inflation.
Absolutely.
And for retirees, that hits so much harder than it does for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's right. When you've got an income that's not going to change, or can't change, that can be pretty devastating.
Absolutely. And getting that compounding in earlier as well, because we're able to extend the life of that money with that compounding. And if there's money earmarked for 15 years' time, basically statistically, the gain is definite.
Yeah,
on a statistic basis.
Absolutely.
There's a 0% chance based on historic returns that you'll lose any money over a 15-year period.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, those factors should always be considered. Yeah, inflation, liquidity. So these are all the things I guess I'll be talking to this client about tomorrow. One of the main things is need. What is the purpose of this money? Sometimes people haven't even thought about it really. They just seem to think that they should be doing something. So it's our job to sort of draw that out and maybe put some plans in place for them.
Absolutely. And I think one of the most beautiful things as an advisor as well is when you come to someone at the beginning of retirement, you go, I want you to be my advisor. Potentially they're the only thing that stays stable over that retirement period. Just the person you see once or twice a year, have a good check-in with anytime things are scary. You come and see the advisor that you know and love. And as an advisor, you just get the honor of walking them through the process, and they get that honor of working with you over decades.
Absolutely. I've got a whole lot of those clients that I guess have become friends over the years. They're on my we're on Facebook together. Not that I look at it much these days, Facebook, but they are there. And you get to share the highs and lows in their lives with them, which is an honor. It really is.
That seems like a good ending point, unless you've got other points.
Good. No, all good. All good indeed.